Back on the Nord Stream pipeline, whoever attacked the pipeline, and it may take a while to figure out who it was, would the U.S. consider that to qualify as an attack on a NATO ally worthy of retaliation?
So I don't want to get ahead of the investigation. We have to see who is behind this at this time. I understand the question because it is a pipeline, and it is going to affect certainly our NATO allies. But we want to see where the investigation goes. Again, an attack on critical infrastructure of our European allies and NATO, our European partners and NATO allies is a matter of concern for us. But we will be there, and we will be ready to react once we have the investigation is completed.
Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev said that Russia has the right to defend itself with nuclear weapons, and that NATO would be too scared of a nuclear apocalypse to retaliate. Is he right about that?
So let me say this again, and I have said this many times from this podium, so have my colleagues. There is one person responsible for this war that was started by the Kremlin, this war that was started by Putin, and he is that person. He is responsible for this war. And he decided that he wanted to brutally attack Ukraine on this unprovoked war, and this is on him. This is on Putin. Putin is the one that could stop this war anytime. And look what we're seeing from the people of Russia. They are protesting, they are signing petitions. Many of them do not want to fight this war or die for this war. You know why? Because it is incredibly unpopular. This war is not a popular war for President Putin. And what we're seeing in Ukraine is we're seeing the Ukrainian people bravely defend their freedom, bravely defend their sovereignty. And, you know, when we hear comments like that, we put it back on Putin. Again, this is Putin's war. He can end this.
But is Medvedev right that NATO would be too afraid of a nuclear apocalypse to retaliate if Russia were to use nuclear weapons?
So I will say this. We take Russia's threat to use nuclear weapons seriously, and we have been saying that the last couple of days in this briefing room. You've heard that from the National Security Advisor as well. You've heard that from the President last week when he was at the UN. But we have not seen any reason to adjust our own nuclear posture. And to be clear, we will not be deterred from supporting Ukraine. You know, we have been clear that United States will support Ukraine as they defend their country and their democracy against Russian aggression for as long as it takes, as have our allies and partners, including the G7, and that's what I can speak to. I can speak to your question, I can speak to what our allies are willing to do, and that's continue to defend and to help Ukraine defend for their sovereignty.
And then just very quickly, you said yesterday that the U.S. was ready to assist in the investigation if needed. As far as you know, is the U.S. providing any assistance in the investigation right now, and what kinds of assistance would be most helpful from the U.S.?
So I don't have any specifics to lay out for you at this time, but again, as you know, as I've mentioned a few times just now, is that the investigation is underway, and this is something that is of concern to us.